And Dusty Baker. Pedro Guerrero, the third baseman, batting in the cleanup spot. Ken Landreau playing in center field, hitting fifth. Mike Marshall, the youngster, in right field. Greg Brock, a rookie at first base. And veteran catcher Steve Yeager. And Bob Welch to pitch and bat ninth. And Brent Smith on the mound tonight for the Expos. And from first to third around the infield, Oliver, Trio, Flynn, and Wallach. Carter is catching. Los Angeles, he's batting .279 tonight for the ball game. Sachs, the Dodger leader in stolen bases with 43. So as is the case with most leadoff men, why it's a good idea to keep him off the bases.
His percentage is not good. He's been thrown out quite a few times.
26 times he's been caught stealing.
Right.
Probably leads the league in that category too. Ball one and no strikes. The game underway. Sachs is hitting .341 against the Expos, Duke. He has 14 hits and 41 at-bats against Montreal. More hits than any other Dodger.
Well, he's a pretty aggressive hitter. He doesn't get a lot of base on balls. He leaves the bench swinging. And Brent Smith, we might throw this in for those of you who have never seen him pitch. He has a fastball, a slider, a curve, and a palm ball, which he uses as his off-speed pitch.
A chance here for the shortstop. Flynn couldn't come up with it. So Steve Sachs has a bouncing ball single. And now Brent Smith will have to concern himself with Sachs at first base and the batter, Bill Russell.
Well, as we mentioned, Sachs a very aggressive hitter, and that's what you look for when you sign a youngster out of high school or college, is the ball coming off the bat. And a guy like Steve Sachs, when he hits the ball, makes solid contact, the ball jumps off his bat.
Here's Bill Russell hitting .263. He handles the bat nicely in this number 2 spot.
I'm surprised they don't hit and run more with Russell in the second spot and Sachs on first base. Russell can handle a bat about as good as anybody on the ball club.
Brent tossing to first base. He's got a pretty decent move. That wasn't his A move to first. Steve Sachs, last year's Rookie of the Year, and here's a veteran, Bill Russell. 10 years Sachs' senior.
Here he goes.
On a pitch out, Russell got a piece of it. Hit the ball right out of Carter's glove and a hit. How about that?
Now, you know, Dave, we've seen Carter so many times on a pitch out, jump out and run up into the left-handed batter's box and try and get a couple of steps to throw to second base. That time, Russell almost hit his glove as he swung at the ball. And had he hit his glove, it had been catcher's interference, or Gary could have had an elbow knock quite a ways in the left field. So it was one of those things Gary had to shy away, and that's what kept him away from fielding the ball.
Well, that was something for Russell, just to be able to reach it and still hold on to the bat.
Gary's got to learn to stay back just a little bit more. It's okay if the pitch is far enough out that the batter can't reach it.
Dodgers are at first and second. And here's Dusty Baker. Now, he's all kinds of trouble, batting .263, 14 home runs, 65 RBIs for Dusty. One ball and one strike. Brent Smith in some first inning hot water here with Dodgers at first and second.
Dusty not having the year percentage-wise he'd like to have, but he's starting to get some pretty good numbers.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Baker's been hurt. He's had some knee problems, an elbow problem earlier in the year. And they've been taking him out of the game late in the game for defensive purposes because of injuries.
Right. With that .263 average, Dusty pops one up into shallow left field. Trouble. Nobody can get to it. The bases will be loaded. Well, now, how about this? First of all, a ball hit by Sachs that missed Flynn's glove by 6 inches. A hit by Bill Russell on a tapper out in front of the plate. And now a pop-up into no man's land in left center, and Bryn Smith is in big trouble.
Well, we'll see Tim Raines get a bad start on this. He took a step back, got a late start, tried to catch the ball, just didn't have time. Then the high bounce enabled everybody to move up 90 feet. We've got the bases loaded. Without AstroTurf, they might have had a force on somebody because that ball should have been caught.
The bases are loaded for the cleanup hitter, Pedro Guerrero, who's batting .293, 26 home runs and 87 runs batted in. Guerrero, one of the tough outs in the league. If you took a poll among the pitchers and got all of the National League pitchers to list the tough outs, especially with men on base, you would find that Guerrero would show up on just about every single one of their lists. Maybe not as number one, but he'd be up there in the top 5. One ball and one strike.
This is the spot right here where the good teams get more than one run. Sometimes the mediocre teams will get into a double play and only get one run in the inning. We'll see what the Dodgers do here. It's up to Bryn Smith how well he pitches. He'd gladly like a double play ball here and only give up one run.
They had Guerrero out in front on the trick pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well,
you'll see the palm ball right here out over the plate. See it breaking down. It's got overspin on it. It looks like a fastball leaving the hand, but it comes out from way in back of the hand with overspin. Will break down towards the ground, and it does fool good hitters too.
Smith working with Baker, Russell, and Sachs all on base. Guerrero almost chased that. Carter made a good stop. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bryn Smith is 28 years old. He stands 6'2", weighs 210. Joined the starting rotation at the end of July. Ken Landreau's the number 5 hitter in the Dodger order. On deck. That's all for Guerrero.
Yeah, that was a big strikeout, needless to say. Now you can get a double play and get out of the inning without any runs scored. We'll see it right here. Same tight pitch, the palm ball breaking down, and Guerrero just couldn't wait for it to get into his hitting area. That's the good thing about that pitch. It looks like a fastball. All of a sudden, you're out front, and you've extended out, then you've just got arms to swing at the ball.
Now here's Kenny Landreau, who's batting .289, and Landreau takes a strike. Now you will recall that it was in Los Angeles with Bryn Smith pitching that Landreau hit a 2-run home run, after which Bryn Smith popped Mike Marshall on the left shoulder with a pitch, and Marshall charged the mound. 2 strikes on Ken Landreau.
Well, Bryn is working very hard out there and trying to get out of this thing without allowing a run. That would be something, wouldn't it? Another palm ball. The ball looks so big coming up there. You just get too anxious to hit it.
2-strike pitch, a single to right field. That's a no-no. Here's Sachs on to score. Here comes Russell. The throw by Cromartie, and Russell is safe. 2-0 Dodgers.
The throw just a little bit late for Gary. He had to go get it, extend out for it, and he couldn't block the plate enough to keep Russell, who got a very late start. We see it right here. See Russell coming in. The throw up the third baseline just enough that Gary had to go out after it, couldn't block the plate, and come back to make the tag. Just a bit late.
So now with Landreau at first base and Baker at second base, and 2 runs on the board, here's Marshall with 1 out. He'll score the 3rd Dodger run. Marshall at first base, Landreau at third base.
A lot of times it's not how hard you hit the ball, but where you hit it, as Galen Cisco is going to the mound to talk to Bryn Smith. And as we mentioned, the good teams score more than 1 when they get the bases loaded and no out. I guess the Dodgers are a good team. They're on top of the Western Division.
Pitching coach Galen Cisco going out there. A happy Dodger dugout at this point. First inning of the game. They've put 3 runs up there. And the youngster, Greg Brock, will come to the plate. Say youngster, Marshall is really the youngster, 23 years old. Brock is an old rookie. He's 26 years old. That's 56-year-old Bill Burton. Sorry about that, Bill. 52-year-old Bill Burton.
You're giving him my age, Dave.
You're not 56.
A couple more weeks.
Well, I was right. You're not 56.
Yes, I am.
Here's Brock batting .217, but 19 home runs, 60 RBIs. 1 strike on Brock. 19 home runs as a rookie. Second to Frank Howard's total of 23 home runs with the Dodgers in the 1960 season. Ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's tops in Los Angeles Dodger history. Only 2 other Dodger rookies have had more home runs. Del Bissonette hit 25 in 1928. John Frederick had 24 as a rookie in 1929.
Look out.
Look out. That's got people moving. That's Manny Mota, an ex-Expo. One of the game's outstanding pinch hitters after a terrific playing career.
Again, you see the palm ball here, and he's way out front, so he throws his bat at the ball.
One ball and 2 strikes to Brock. Two and 2. Greg Brock the batter, and Steve Yeager's on deck. Out of play.
So the Dodgers very disappointed. Brock only hitting .217 and had very big numbers in AAA, although he has hit the long ball and has driven in 60 runs. They felt that he would hit, they hoped he'd hit around 280, hit around 28, 29 home runs.
The 2-2 pitch to Brock, and that's ball 3.
We might see Marshall on the move here, although Brock strikes out quite a bit. We'll have to wait and see what Tommy Lasorda does. Looked like he might have been leaning a bit.
Greg Brock the batter. Marshall's at first base. Landreau's at third base. 3-2 pitch with the runner going. Swing and a miss and a throw, and Marshall's hung up. They're watching the runner Landreau. Now they've got him in a rundown. Good execution by the Expos. A double play on a strikeout, and Landreau's caught stealing, and the Dodgers got 3 in the first. The Expos will be coming to bat from Olympic Stadium. This is Expos baseball on CBC. And the Expos tonight face right-hander Bob Welch, 26-year-old native of Detroit, Michigan. Number 1 draft by the Dodgers, June of 1977.
Bob Welch, the type of pitcher that can be overpowering with his fastball. He has 125 strikeouts in 165 innings. He also has a good curve and a good slider. He's worked on the changeup, has a halfway decent change, so no trick pitches for Welch. He just comes right at you, throws strikes. He's walked 63 in those 165 innings.
He's won 4 in a row, so he's looking to extend a personal win streak to 5 games. Tim Raines back. Dodgers come up in the 4th inning. Los Angeles scored 3 runs on 5 hits in the first inning. In the first inning of last night's game, won by Jerry Royce, they sent 8 batters to the plate and scored 2. Tonight they sent 7 to the plate and scored 3. So the Dodgers have come out of the blocks. The Expos won the first game of this series, the Charlie Lee victory over Rick Honeycutt, 8-3. There's Jerry White. Marshall had a base hit in the first inning. drove in a run. Marshall's pretty impressive up there, batting .285. Of course, when you have that kind of size, you're pretty impressive anywhere. 6'5", 220.
It's taken him a while to adjust to major league pitching, but he's found himself this year. He struggled earlier, was on the bench.
A ball and 2 strikes. Marshall has stepped out to talk to himself a little bit. He's not happy with this at bat and the way it's going right now. Into the right field corner, a foul ball.
Now see, that's good hitting right there. That pitch out away, and Marshall, with those long arms and long body, was able to extend out and get the good part of the bat on the ball. The ball sliced foul, but not by much. That's the thing those tall guys can do. Dawson in that category, Murphy in that category with Atlanta. They do it so well.
For the last month and a half now, Marshall has really come around, batting .341. One ball and 2 strikes here. Bryn Smith got him. Strikeout number 3 for Bryn Smith in the game.
Very good location on this pitch. Breaking pitch. Low and away. Marshall going back to the bench. If you can carry it up the plate, that's about where you'd want to get it on any right-handed batter.
First baseman Greg Brock. We talked about Guerrero replacing Say as the third baseman. Here is rookie Greg Brock, who took over for Steve Garvey.
Brock tried to play that down, but I think it's had something to do with his lack of hitting for percentage this year. He's just been trying a little bit too hard. Some say that he takes too many pitches. Takes some good pitches that he could hit out of the ballpark.
Struck out his first time up. Can't hold on to the bat here.
That off-speed pitch really fooling him, that palm ball.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
And he's leading the league right now in thrown bats. He's got 2 tonight. I had a guy one year at Albuquerque, Louis Alcaraz was his name, that used to throw the bat at the ball all the time.
I think the bullpen is going
to make the difference. To me, pennants are won and lost in the bullpen.
Well, there's a man who has won 3 pennants in 6 years and a world championship in 1981, saying that the bullpen will do it. I wanted to complete my thought on Tom Lasorda, Duke, because Tommy, and he had the nickname at one time, walkie-talkie Tommy Lasorda, because he is almost a throwback to the old holler guy, that he has such a spiel for every occasion, and he does talk to his players a lot, and he is very active in the dugout verbally and on the field and so forth. And I couldn't help but wonder, this was after the first 2 or 3 years that he managed, what would happen after veteran players had heard Tommy for 3 or 4 years? Would they respond the same way? I think if there's any question about it, we have to say that Tom Lasorda continues to be able to not only handle his personnel, but to motivate his players, and they have obviously not tired of listening to walkie-talkie Tommy Lasorda.
Well, I've known Tommy for a long time, and I'll tell you, he's got a spiel, and you hear the same stories quite often when you're around Tommy, but he is a good man.
Bryn Smith works. 1-1 to Guerrero, who struck out in the first with the bases loaded and got an infield hit off Smith's glove in the 3rd inning.
Another one of those off-speed pitches, and watch Guerrero. He's out front, reaching for the ball, extending out after it, and he started to swing much too soon.
Two balls and 1. 500 against the Western club. 2-2.
And has their work cut out for him.
Pitched 5 1/3 innings of no-hit baseball back on August 23rd against this Dodger ball club. Now, at times he has been just outstanding, and since the first inning tonight he's been played. Landreau with a base hit out into center field, and then Baker with a fly ball that dropped in for a hit in left. Tim Braines broke back on it, and by the time he came in, well, it was too late to get to it, and that's what started the whole thing off.
Well, it sure did. In the pitch out that Gary went up after, and Russell almost took the ball out of Carter's glove and to get that hit, and Gary had to go around Russell and surround the ball, couldn't get there in time, and Bill finally beat it out for the base hit, and that was probably the key to the whole inning.
So what we're saying, I suppose, is that this could easily be a 0-0 baseball game in the sixth inning, but it's not. Crawling back in there on his hands and knees, Landreau, who slipped.
He might have hurt himself. We'll wait and see. When he turned to go back, something gave on him.
Watch this.
His right foot. His right foot gave. He barely got back in time.
Bob Davis. One strike on Mike Marshall, who singled to drive in a run in the first inning, and then Marshall struck out in the fourth. Bryn Smith struck out the side in the fourth inning. The Dodgers with 3 runs on 8 hits, no errors. The Expos no runs, 2 hits, no errors. Inning number 6. His 17th save. Bryn Smith doing a number here on Mike Marshall again. Steve by far and away leads the league. He has 64 to lead. Alan Wiggins of the Padres has 47.
Running 100%. See, the shortstop's covering in this.
Trio has struck out. To talk to Welch now.
You know, years ago when all these Expo hitters were learning how to hit, these youngsters coming up out of the minor leagues, the Expos were striking out an awful lot. Now the number's much lower. They're one of the tougher teams to strike out in the league. So that shows they're maturing at the plate as far as striking out anyway.
Dawson hit into a double play in the first inning, then singled in the fourth.
Again, we're going to have a little bit of an angle. We're not going to be able to tell exactly. I would have to say that it did hit the corner. Our cameras to the
Guerrero, and he throws Oliver out, and the Expos squander another scoring opportunity. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 was.
Pitch is breaking down, and it's tough to time. As far as the Expo hitters, they have had the big men up there to drive in the runs. They've just not been able to get any across yet. They've only gotten 3 hits in the game. They've still got 3 more chances, though. They got 3 more innings to.
Also mentioned with 25 pinch hits, he had 24 RBIs.
Well, you know, that was with a bad Expo.
Landreau can't get it. Carter's on his way to second. A throw by Marshall, not in time. Guerrero with a problem in his hand.
See, that's whenever you've got that situation, there's always a chance that he's going to make a mistake. Made one right there.
Baker's up. Cromartie is out. The runners hold.
Right.
Crowley driving the ball to center field. He's got a hit. That'll load the bases. The Expos base runners didn't. Welch is upset. So the Dodgers are going to make a pitching change. Here comes big number 49, Tom Niedenbuer. Mentioned the numbers about this Dodger bullpen. They've been something else. So has Niedenbuer. Welch out of the game. Niedenbuer's allowed very few runs over the 54 games he's worked in. Just 13 earned runs in over 77 innings. That's an ERA of 1.51 and a 7-2 record, 9 saves. Tom Niedenbuer.
He's a power type pitcher. Niedenbuer has a good fastball, good curve, slider, nothing tricky again. He just comes right at you, throws strikes, got pretty good control.
This is his 5th game against the Expos. 1 win, 1 save against Montreal in 4 previous relief appearances.
Well, he tried to pull a fastball and he popped it up. Brock has a play.
2 away. So far, so good for Niedenbuer.
That won't do it.
Niedenbuer did the job again. Landreau's got it, and that's all. The Expos left him loaded in the 7th. We'll go to the 8th inning. Los Angeles 3, Montreal nothing. Pitch. And 1 strike on Steve Sachs. Talk about keys to the Expos month of September. Here's one on the mound. Jeff Reardon.
Well, he is that, Dave. He's a definite key. And another thing about Jeff Reardon, it looks like he's starting to get his win by.
Bill Russell, Dodger shortstop. 1 for 3. Pitcher that leads the league in saves is Lee Smith. Yep. Range and left. Russell's out. Along with Kent Tekulve. And Bedrosian looked like a tired right-hander today.
Well, you know, he was throwing the ball hard, but he was laboring out there on the mound. Couldn't find the strike zone, and it's just from overuse. He's still throwing the ball with good velocity, but doesn't know where it's going. That's when you get in trouble.
Dusty fouling that off again. And their bullpen. Rafael Landeskog is into the game at third base. And Cecil Espy is playing in center field. Darryl Thomas is in left field. A line drive right to Landeskog. 1 away.
Manny Trio hit the ball hard, but right at Rafael Landeskog. You see it right here. Rafael in for defense, as is Darryl Thomas and Cecil Espy. So
Niedenbuer. Two strikes on Andre Dawson. Of course, when you consider to be a candidate.
That's right, Dave. You see him blow a fastball by Dawson here. He got it in a good spot out over the plate and down.
Landreau with a 2-run single. A shot for the third baseman Landeskog. Oliver's on his way to second. Third base has been a problem tonight.
Hey, it never fails. You put a guy in for defense, he gets tested, and he boots one. Landeskog had a slicing drive down towards him. The ball had a lot of spin on it. It popped out of his glove, but he was cool. He picked it up and then threw it bad to first base. And the Dodgers are a little concerned about Brock not coming up with many low throws at first, and he didn't come up with that one.
He strikes Gary Carter out. The catcher is gone, and so are the Expos. No go to the 9th. The Dodgers lead 3-0. What'd they say? Thomas, Marshall, and Brock missed Rafael.
Something like that.
Left him out. That's out of play. Espy was placed in the number 3 position. Landeskog batting 4th, Thomas 5th.
Three runners in the whole ball game. The Expos stranded a bunch. 4, 5,
Dodgers haven't had
7,
too many
8.
since the first.
Right. True.
That is Landis-Stoy's second, make it his third major league home run, according to. He hit one with Houston in 1980, one with Cincinnati last year, and this is his third major league home run.
Well, you know, he first started out in the Dodger organization, then moved on, and now he's come back. But he's not a home run hitter, as we mentioned, but once in a while, if you swing hard enough, you're going to hit one.
Two strikes on Darryl Thomas. Mike Marshall's on deck. 1-2 to Thomas. Left field, ring. Out of play. Strike one. Good try by Cromartie, and he went headlong into that wall.
Well, Cromartie is hurt. I think he might have hit his forehead in that wall down there. It's padded, but still, when you're running, boy, he almost made a heck of a catch. Look out, Claude.
Foul ball. Marshall is behind 0-2. Reardon getting ahead, and that was a tough strike, wasn't it? It was tough on Cromartie. Struck out his first two times up. Last time up, bounced out to second. 0 for 3, batting .215. The Cincinnati Reds just scored a run in the 10th inning, and they lead the Cardinals 3-2, and the Cardinals are batting in the bottom of the 10th. Look back to that particular time in Reardon's season and a half. He gave up 3 game-winning home runs. Here he has walked Brock, and can't help but wonder if maybe that wasn't a contributing factor to Jeff maybe getting away a little bit from his game. Now the other side of that, right?
Anybody's going to hit one once in a while, but you've got to go with your strong suit.
That should end it for the Dodgers here. Cromartie wants this. And Warren Cromartie, and probably a pinch hitter. Salvat.
Dave, we got a new right fielder. I'm trying to figure out who it is. I don't have my glasses here.
Is that Reynolds?
Could very well be. I'll look the number up.
That's out of play behind. Sachs wants this. Second baseman has it. One down in the bottom of the 9th. Well, last night the Expos scored 1 run. They got that as a result of a double play against Jerry Royce, and tonight Bob Welch and Tom Niedenfuer so far have combined to shut them out. Warren Cromartie, a base hit for Warren Cromartie. Crow is on, and the pinch hitter will be Brad Mills. Brad Mills is one hit. The third baseman wants this. Landis-Stoy in foul territory. 2 down. Mike Stenhouse will bat.
Major leagues. Went back down to Wichita and got his back.
That'll be out of play. Reynolds running over toward the corner, but he's going to run out of room. The Dodger pitching staff has pitched 10 shutouts. Valenzuela 4, Welch 3. So it'll be the staff's 11th if they get it. A combined shutout by Welch and Niedenfuer.
Pretty good cut.
That sure was. 2-2 on Stenhouse.
That's the best swing we've seen him have since he came up to Montreal earlier in the year and then went back.
Try to come up with the final out of the ball game. Stenhouse at 25 home runs. Draws a walk here. Niedenfuhr's upset with himself.
Well, all of a sudden you look at Raines and the on-deck circle just in back of him. We'll come up to the on-deck circle shortly as Yeager's out talking to Niedenfuhr along with Bill Russell. Steve Sachs in there. Now the umpire, Dave Pallone, breaking that meeting up. Raines taking a few practice swings, but if Tim can get on base, why, Manny Trio due up next. He's not a home run hitter, but he can hit one. Or keep the thing going for Dawson to come up. There's still life. You're never out of it till you're out of it, right?
That's what Yogi said in '73.
Still goes, doesn't it?
He was managing the Mets at the time. Of course, that was the year that there was a wild scramble for the title in the East Division, and the Mets finally won it. Mets were behind there. Nothing comes easy. That's out of play. 2 out, 2 on. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That should do it.
A fly ball to left. Thomas is there. He's got it, and the ball game is over. Bob Welch and Tom Niedenfuhr combined to shut out the Expos 4-0 on a 6-hitter. We'll be back with our Carling O'Keefe Game Stars after this. O'Keefe Game Stars. Our Carling O'Keefe Game Stars tonight are the Dodger pitchers Bob Welch and Tom Niedenfuhr, who combined to pitch a shutout over the Expos, allowing just 6 hits. The Dodgers have now won 15 of their last 19 games, and as we pointed out during the telecast, one of the reasons why they've been able to do that is their pitching, and the Expos have seen plenty of it for the last 2 nights.
Well, Dave, you know the Expos left 10 on base tonight, and they didn't get the clutch hits that they needed. They could have been right in the ball game, maybe even won it, because they'd have put more pressure on the Dodgers. But they've got to win tomorrow's ball game, so you have to forget about tonight and come back brand new tomorrow and split with these Dodgers in the 4-game series.
The Expos need a win now to split the series with the Dodgers. They'll have Ray Burris go against Alejandro Pena, and next Wednesday night we'll have